The Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Brian, how did you come to start volunteering for the Vermont Association for the Blind?
I started volunteering with the United Way through the Neighbor Rides program, and they said Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired needed some volunteers as well. I've been being a driver for about a year and a half, and with Association for the Blind for about 2.5 months.
Does a connection develop between the volunteer and the person receiving a ride in this program?
Oh, I think a connection definitely develops. When you think about getting into a car with initially a total stranger, after time goes on, you get to know the person, there's a lot of conversation that happens, and you do develop a really good rapport with the person that's transporting you. There's a lot of trust that has to be developed from the passenger to the driver, and I think vice versa. I think the driver has to get to know the passenger in order to help understand what their needs are, because they are different from person to person.
I agree completely with Vicki. It's really two things for me. One is conversations that you develop as you drive someone, and the second, that leads to friendships. Of the 10 or 12 folks I drive on any given 2-week period, 2 or 3 currently are old friends of mine. I live nearby in the neighborhood, and the Association for the Blind, it really gives you that opportunity to expand friendship, and I really appreciate that.
Vicki, what would you say to somebody who's thinking about being a volunteer driver?
I think I would say if you enjoy being around people and you really want to make a difference in the lives of another person who truly needs your help, I would say that being a driver for the blind and the visually impaired is a most important role. And I would highly encourage anyone who is interested in volunteering to consider that as something they might find fulfilling.
Brian, what would you say to somebody who's considering being a volunteer driver for the Vermont Association for the Blind?
Dan, I hope folks consider what we've been talking about here in this short video. The Association for the Blind is an important agency here in Vermont. The friendships that develop, the relationships that you have with people, and with an agency like Association for the Blind that is doing so many good things in our state. I encourage you to get involved.
If you or someone you know would like to volunteer with the Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, please call 1-800-639-5861 or learn more at www.vabvi.org.